Welcome, children. As you settle into a comfortable position, feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath, and allow the soft rhythm of your heartbeat to guide you into calm. Tonight, I will lead you on a soothing journey back to the time of the great Khmer Empire, an ancient world shaped not by kings and heroes alone, but by thousands of hands moving in unison beneath the warm Southeast Asian sun. This will not be a tale of majestic temples or great battles, but rather a quiet exploration of ordinary days, woven from mud, clay, sweat, and routine. We'll start with the daily lives of laborers who toiled to sustain grand monuments beneath stone and sky. We'll then shift to the legacy of Queen Jayadevi, a ruler whose story echoes in silence. From there, we'll drift into the tangled green of the jungle, where lost temples and cities sleep under secret canopies. Finally, we'll rise once more to explore the opulence and ritual of the royal court, where silk and incense met political ceremony. Let the steady flow of words carry you gently, like a slow river moving through rice fields. If your eyes grow heavy, let them close. If your mind wanders, that's perfectly fine. This is a restful voyage, immeasurably still, profoundly soft. So breathe in and breathe out. Let's begin.
Let's begin with mud. Not the romanticized image of a glorious Angkorian temple beneath sunlit jungle canopy. Not the polished sandstone towers of Angkor Wat in their prime, but just mud. Cool, clinging, persistent. It squelches beneath your bare feet before the sun has even risen. It makes the hem of your sarong. It gets in your fingernails, under your tongue, in your nose. And there is no escape from it, because you, like tens of thousands of others, are part of the great grinding machine that built the Khmer Empire. You are a laborer in Angkor, and your day has just begun. The night has just given way to the faintest light. You wake to the scratch of straw beneath you, sleeping shoulder to shoulder with others in a long bamboo shelter. There is no mattress, only a mat, and the warmth of other bodies. A rooster calls somewhere near the forest's edge. Dogs bark. Insects hum. The air is thick with dew and the scent of smoke from embers kept burning all night. No one speaks much at first. People sit up slowly. Someone yawns. Another begins a soft morning chant, a verse offered to Vishnu, or perhaps to the spirit of the land. You rub your eyes and gather your tools, a clay water jug, a woven satchel, and a worn digging spade. The overseers are already walking the compound. They do not need to shout. Everyone knows the rhythm by now. You are assigned to the Eastern Canal crew today, though on other days you might haul stone, clear jungle brush, or labor in temple grounds. This morning, your task is earth moving. You arrive at the edge of the canal, one of Angkor's thousands of hydraulic lifelines. These canals don't just irrigate, they reflect belief, guide the spiritual alignment of the city, and sustain its people. Without them, the empire withers. You and the others dig. Earth is moved in woven baskets, passed hand to hand. Water seeps under your toes. Mosquitoes swarm your arms. Somewhere far off, monks chant inside a temple, their voices rising and falling like slow wind. There are no breaks except a brief pause for chewing betel nuts. Its bitter sting keeps you alert. Your back aches already. The sun climbs higher. Still you dig. At noon, the work slows. The heat is too much to bear. Your skin stings. Your throat is dry. A gong rings from a central post, metal against wood. Time for rations. You sit in the shade of a jackfruit tree with your work crew. The meal is simple: a handful of boiled rice, some fermented fish paste, and water from a communal jar. The taste is sharp, sour, and salty. No one complains. This is a good day. No one stole your food, and no one was whipped. After eating, many lie back in the dirt, resting their heads on their arms. Some nap, others murmur quiet prayers. The jungle buzzes, the heat presses down. A few nearby men fan themselves with palm fronds. You watch the clouds drift over the stone towers in the distance. Even in this moment of rest, you are aware. This peace is borrowed. The afternoon will be harder. Today is your turn at the quarry hulling crew. At the edge of the jungle, massive sandstone blocks lie half-carved. These will become part of a new shrine or reservoir wall. They are dragged not by animals, but by humans, roped, pulled, and urged forward by rhythmic chant. Ho, ha, ho, ha. The chant helps focus the mind. It keeps bodies moving in unison. You lean forward with all your weight, barefoot on the log rollers. Dust coats your throat. Sweat trickles down your spine. Some fall. Some are taken away, limping or silent, but still the chant continues. You do not ask where this stone will go. You will never see it placed. You will not be carved into the bas reliefs. You are the unseen force beneath the temple's majesty. That is enough. As the light turns golden and the shadows stretch long, the overseers call the end of day. The jungle breathes more deeply now, cooling slowly. You carry your tools back to the compound. Your arms are heavy, your legs tremble. Mud is crusted on your skin. You pass the quiet lines of statues, gods and demons locked in eternal stone struggle, and feel nothing. The compound is smoky with cooking fires. Women prepare rice. Children run barefoot in the dust. Someone plays a soft tune on a reed flute. The melody is simple, repetitive, and slow. You take off your shirt and wash with cold water from a jar. The water is brown, but clean enough. You sit with your work group and eat in near silence. Darkness falls quickly in the tropics. The stars emerge behind the temple towers. You lie on your mat, stomach full, limbs sore. Nearby, someone sings a song to the spirit of the land, a lullaby as old as the jungle. Another tells a story of a king who was reborn as an elephant, or a farmer who married a goddess. These are not fairy tales. They are memories. They are truth in metaphor. Someone whispers of a spirit near the canal, seen in the moonlight. You pull your mat closer to the fire. Fear is part of life here. So are ghosts. So are gods. Your eyes grow heavy. You think of tomorrow, of hauling, of chanting, of the overseer's stick. And then, mercifully, you stop thinking altogether. You sleep. This was just one day in Angkor's labor force. No names will be carved for you, no record kept. But without you, the city would never have stood. The temples would never rise. The kings would have no court. The monks would have no shrines. The rhythm of your life, mud, chant, sweat, sleep, was the true engine of empire. So, as we leave the compound behind, as dawn approaches again, remember, history remembers the kings, but it was laborers who carved their names into stone.
Power
often leaves shadows instead of stories. In the vast sun-bleached carvings of Angkor, kings stride forward, swords raised, thrones steady, faces eternal. But beside them, often in miniature or entirely absent, stand the women of the court, silent, implied, forgotten. Tonight we searched for one such figure, a woman whose reign was both real and resisted. Her name was Jayadevi, and she ruled the Khmer Empire during one of its murkiest periods, after the golden age of her predecessor and just before the grand rise of Angkor itself. She was a queen, a ruler, and a historical whisper. Let's begin her story, not with battle or coronation, but with a fragment, a few lines carved in stone in an ancient temple half lost to forest. Jayadevi ruled during the 7th century after the death of King Suryavarman I. His reign had been powerful. He expanded the empire, centralized control, and embraced a blend of Hinduism and local animist traditions. But when he died, no son succeeded him. Instead, Jayadevi. We know of her from a single inscription, the Prasat Bayang stele. Dated to 713 CE, it refers to Jayadevi's offerings and rules. But even that inscription is clouded in ambiguity. She calls herself Queen Regnant, not consort, not regent, but sovereign. This was no placeholder. Yet shortly after, the empire appears to fragment. Historians once interpreted her rule as a time of collapse, rebellions, decline, weaknesses. But perhaps that was only how later kings chose to remember her. We must ask, was her reign truly a failure or simply erased? Let us imagine her, Jayadevi, in the wooden palace of Isanapura, the capital before Angkor. She would not wear armor or carry a sword. Her power came through ritual, lineage, and cosmic legitimacy. Her garments, layers of silk dyed with indigo and turmeric, embroidered with gold thread. Her fingers ringed with soft bells or scented flowers. She sat beneath palm leaf canopies and listened to Brahmins chant. She offered rice to Shiva. She oversaw the irrigation channels that fed her cities. And she gave orders to generals and governors alike. Unlike later rulers, Jayadevi did not leave temples in her name. Her authority was tied not to scale, but to sacred alignment. Her throne was built on balance, with the cosmos, the ancestors, and the land. And yet, even in her lifetime, some likely whispered doubts. A woman ruling alone. What omens did that foretell? Within a few years of Jayadevi's reign, records suggest the empire began to splinter into regional polities. Some scholars suggest she lost control of outer provinces. Others say she ruled a smaller, more stable core. It's possible that neighboring elites challenged her legitimacy, not because of failure, but because of gender. Patriarchal succession patterns, common across South and Southeast Asia, often denied women sustained rule unless tied to male heirs or powerful lineages. But in the Khmer context, queens had long held ceremonial influence. Jayadevi may have governed in the tradition of sacral queenship, not unlike the Apsaras in temple carvings who dance in perpetual grace, keepers of ritual harmony. Her loss of control may reflect political turbulence, but it also speaks to the vulnerability of rulers without monumental propaganda. Without vast temples or inscribed victories, she became a silence in the record.
Pause for a moment. If history is written in stone, what happens when the stone says nothing. Jayadevi's name appears only a handful of times in fragmented Sanskrit steles. Later Khmer kings do not reference her. No official lineage claims descent from her. She was not buried in monumental grandeur. But her absence is its own story. It tells us something about how history is curated, how women are edited out, not because they failed, but because they didn't fit the narrative of divine masculinity that later kings needed to project. The silence around Jayadevi is not uncommon. Across Southeast Asia, powerful women ruled. Queen Sri Tribhuvana of Java, Queen Suryotai of Ayutthaya, Queen Shima of Kalinga, and yet most are remembered vaguely, if at all. Jayadevi may have ruled for 2 decades, or 5. We do not know how she died. We do not know if she was mourned. But we know she existed, and sometimes that is the hardest thing to preserve. Though Jayadevi may have vanished from chronicles, women were never absent from Khmer spirituality. Walk through the corridors of Angkor Wat or Bantier Sere, and you will see apsaras, celestial women, carved in hundreds, each different, each graceful. Their presence is constant. They dance across the walls of the empire. In Khmer cosmology, women were not subordinate. They were vessels of cosmic order, tied to fertility, prosperity, and divine movement. Even courtly rituals relied on female performers, priestesses, and astrologers. In some temples, Linga, the symbol of Shiva, stood beside Yoni, the feminine force. Together they represented the totality of creation. Jayadevi may have drawn from this sacred balance to legitimize her reign. If so, she was both a queen and cosmic guardian. Her power was not only political, it was spiritual. Later rulers, especially Jayavarman II, founder of Angkor in the 9th century, reframed Khmer kingship. They emphasized Devaraja ideology, the king as god-king, often linked to Shiva, Vishnu, or Buddha. These men built in stone, shaped mountains, and inscribed their names upon the heavens. In this new model, feminine power had little place beyond consort or goddess. And so, Jayadevi became a forgotten queen. But her story lingers in the faint carvings of temples left in forested hills, in steles half swallowed by moss, and in the quiet attention of archaeologists today. She reminds us that history is not merely a record of winners, but a series of choices: what to keep, what to praise, and what to let slip in the silence.
Now let's step back from the dust of Isanapura, from the scent of incense, and from the long corridors of vanished temples. Let the chant fade. Let the silk garments dissolve into dream. You've spent this time with a ruler half remembered, her voice lost, her face unknown, her tomb unmarked. But in this stillness, her presence becomes real again, not as a queen on a throne, but as a reminder of what lies beneath empires, the choices we make about memory, and the stories we choose to tell. Now, let your thoughts drift away from palace corridors and labor lines, and imagine yourself stepping into the deep emerald hush of the forest. Here lie temples lost to time, swallowed by vine and shadow, silent witnesses to a hidden city beneath the canopy. Picture yourself guiding through dense foliage. The air is cooler here, moist and redolent with earthy fragrances. The canopy forms a dim ceiling of green. Shafts of light pierce the leaves, illuminating the quiet hush below. The ground softens underfoot. Decaying leaves, hidden roots, and the smell of rain-drenched life. Every sense is attuned. The distant call of bird life, the rasp of wind in branches. Perhaps the faint pattern of water draining from saturated soil. There is no hum of modern industry. Instead, time moves slowly. The temple waits, hidden, patiently. In 2012, archaeologists used airborne LiDAR, laser pulses fired from helicopters, to penetrate this canopy. They traced faint echoes of human geometry, straight lines, right angles, rectangles, spirals buried beneath centuries of jungle growth. These scans revealed entire urban grids, roads, canals, reservoirs, neighborhood mounds linked to Mahendra Parvata, the Khmer Empire's earliest capital, atop Phnom Kulen. The pattern of hidden city began to take shape. As you walk, imagine the forest suddenly opening to reveal a mound of gray stone, neatly rectangular, half collapsed. Moss blankets carved lintels. Vines hang like green curtains. The scattered stones lie quietly, but your mind traces them into walls, courtyards, chambers. This is a temple, not grand like Angkor Wat, but purposeful and sacred. Perhaps it once stood at a crossroad, part of a larger grid revealed only by overhead pulses of light. Unearthing begins. Small machetes clear debris. Researchers brush dust from carvings that hint at gods, kings, rituals. Each fragment whispers stories. Under the canopy, you sense not isolation, but organization. LiDAR revealed temples aligned with canals and reservoirs, purposeful waterworks that served urban centers across unique grids. The design is serene, systematic, gentle in its order. Imagine an engineer's mind at work. Stone-lined channels, dike embankments, coiled earthworks hundreds of meters long and half a kilometer wide, spiraling mysteries delaying explanation. Walking along one embankment channel, you could pause to dip your fingers in still water. The scent of mud, the hum of insects. It's a living archaeological tapestry. Among the most curious discoveries are coiled, spiral earth embankments south of Angkor Wat. They're so large, kilometers across and precise. On the ground, archaeologists found no signs of habitation, no pottery, no bones, only purposeful earth, worn smooth by wind and water.
No one yet knows their purpose. Are they ritual mazes? Fish traps? Symbolic markers? We can imagine tranquil ceremonies held under the open sky, or a reflective ritual path, walking along curved earthen walls, connection to water, to earth, to ritual. The mystery remains, a story never told. It hums softly beneath your awareness. Step now onto Phnom Kulen Plateau, the sacred mountain of Indra, where Jayavarman II was consecrated in 802 CE. Here, LiDAR revealed Mahendra Parvata's sprawling layout. Temple platforms, canals, roads, ponds, stretching across the plateau. Begin walking along eroded pathways. Touch the base of stone pedestals. Feel the shift from dense jungle to scattered ruins. Silent, almost solemn. A monk's carved footprint here. A lotus motif stone there, faint echoes of devotion. Think about the effort required. Clearing forests, shaping earth, sculpting stone. Now consider how the forest reclaimed it. In centuries past, the monsoon's intensity, shifting water cycles, and ecological fragility led to gradual abandonment. Nature and human ambition dance, a rhythm of build, flourish, decay. The resulting silence is not empty, but full of quiet stories. As the afternoon light wanes, imagine sitting within the temple ruins. Quiet surrounds you. The scent of moss, the soft rustle of wind and leaves. An ancient space open to sky again. No more crowds, no more ceremony. Just stillness. Let that stillness fills you. Let the rhythms of life, planting, ritual, decay, blend into one gentle cadence. You don't need words here. You just need presence. Now, as dusk approaches, we lift our gaze. The forest recedes once more. Ahead lies another world, one of silk, incense, power. Still ancient, still Angkorian, but different. Soon we will step into the refined world of kings and courtiers, where daily life was measured by ceremony, not sweat. Let the quiet stones and whispered mysteries settle in your mind. Soon we will rise again to walk among silk-robed nobles.
Let the quiet hush of the jungle fade behind you now, like a forgotten chant swallowed by leaves. We return to the center of the empire, to a place not of toil or ruin, but of order, elegance, and the soft weight of power. We now step into the royal court of King Suryavarman II, the man behind Angkor Wat. A place where every breath and gesture carried meaning. Imagine yourself rising just before dawn in a quiet corner of the palace. A thin mist clings to the stone pathways. The air is soft, warm, and perfumed by frangipani trees blooming just beyond the carved balustrade. Your chamber is modest by court standards. Stone walls smoothed by age, a mat woven from water hyacinth, a low table bearing manuscripts and scrolls. A servant quietly slides open the wooden door, bringing warm water in a bronze bowl along with thin rice porridge scented with lemongrass. You wash slowly, deliberately. This is not a rushed world. Time in the royal compound moves like the morning sun, gradual, dignified, and predictable. Outside, the palace compound begins to stir. Pages sweep fallen leaves from the courtyard. Female attendants with oiled hair tend to lotus arrangements for temple offerings. Monks quietly recite the first chants of the day. The scent of sandalwood smoke begins to lift into the morning air. You adjust your silk robes, dyed deep indigo, lined with muted gold thread. Your waist sash is tied just right. As a junior official, precision matters. You step softly toward the outer court, where noblemen gather in a shaded colonnade. The pillars are carved with stories, kings triumphing over enemies, gods dancing in celestial repose. You pause beneath one of them, perhaps a panel of Vishnu riding Garuda, and take a breath. Ahead lies the mandapa, the royal audience hall. A long pool reflects the morning light. Guards in ceremonial attire line the approach. You bow slightly as you walk past each one, a silent act of respect. Inside the hall, ministers already wait, arranged by rank. Each face is composed, each robe meticulously folded. A low hum of Sanskrit invocations plays in the background. The king is not yet here. When he enters, all rise, not abruptly, but slowly and with fluid reverence. King Suryavarman II appears robed in white, a gold sash crossing his chest. His crown rests lightly atop oiled black hair, adorned with a stylized diadem of Vishnu's emblem. He walks without speaking. Two fan-bearers follow, wafting air gently as the conch is blown in the background. Musicians with Roniat Ek, Cambodian xylophones, play softly in the corner, a rhythm more like falling water than music. The king mounts a stepped dais, where he sits cross-legged upon a platform of wood and ivory. He speaks sparingly, and when he does, his voice is even and calm, more declaration than conversation. You remain still, listening as scribes read out reports: the state of rice yields in the eastern provinces, the progress of construction near the Beret, temple donations from noble families. Suryavarman II listens. He rarely interrupts. When he does, it is to offer gentle correction or to order further prayer. Sometimes he closes his eyes in contemplation. This is not a place of loud debate. Decisions are slow, deliberate, rooted in astrology, ritual, and hierarchy.
After council, a smaller group moves to a shaded garden to consult with Brahmins. They speak of the alignment of Venus and Mars, of omens read from the stillness of water or the rustling of tamarind trees. Policy and ritual blend easily in this world. By mid-morning, the king departs for the temple. Angkor Wat is not merely a temple, it is the cosmos in stone. Designed as a microcosm of the Hindu universe, its concentric galleries, moats, and causeways mirror Mount Meru and the oceans surrounding it. You walk with the retinue down the long sandstone causeway, flanked by seven-headed Nagas. The rising sun catches the towers in profile. They glow honey-colored, radiant, and soft. The scent of lotus wafts from the moat. Inside, barefoot priests await with offerings. You pause before a bas-relief, perhaps the churning of the ocean of milk, and let its narrative draw you in. Gods and demons strain at the serpent Vasuki, turning the sea to reveal the elixir of immortality. The king prays in the inner sanctum, accompanied by only his most trusted Brahmins. You remain outside, kneeling in silent reverence, listening to the echo of ancient chants drifting through the sandstone. By early afternoon, court life slows. The heat rises. Servants draw reed blinds to cool the shaded walkways. You retreat to a study hall, a quiet gallery where scribes, teachers, and monks read from palm leaf manuscripts. You sit cross-legged on a woven mat, tracing the flowing Sanskrit script with your fingertip. You read verses from the Ramayana, then a treatise on governance by Kautilya. Your mentor, an elder court scholar, offers soft commentary between sips of cool jasmine tea. Outside, court dancers rehearse. The faint sound of ankle bells rings through the courtyard. You glimpse their arms twisting like saplings in wind, each motion coded with divine meaning. The king is said to be resting or walking through a private orchard,
attended only by 2 guards and his astrologer.
As the sun descends, the court gathers once more, this time in the Hall of Offerings. Courtiers arrive with silk-wrapped gifts, fruit, honey, incense, and rice. These are not simply gestures of loyalty, but a sacred balancing act, returning fortune to the cosmic order. Suryavarman II presides in silence. A ritual fire is lit, its smoke rising toward the twilight sky. Chanting begins again, soft, rhythmic, and eternal. You bow as sacred oil is poured into the flame. Later, the king retires to the royal pavilion, where court musicians play the tro, a string instrument, and vocalists sing ancient Khmer lullabies. Female dancers, selected from noble families, perform slow, stylized movements beneath lantern light. The evening meal is shared only among the highest ranks. Dishes are elegant but simple: grilled fish with tamarind, fragrant rice, jackfruit with palm sugar syrup. Every gesture at the table is practiced. Conversation is sparse. Laughter is rare, but when it occurs, it is gentle and brief. The stars emerge above Angkor, reflecting in the vast barees. You make your final rounds, copying a royal decree, overseeing temple allocations, then walking slowly through the torchlit walkways of the palace compound. The king has withdrawn. His chamber overlooks the western moat. Inside, it is said he contemplates the next temple design, sanctuary for Vishnu, on a distant hilltop. His court architect sits nearby, waiting with scrolls. You return to your quarters. A servant leaves a clay lamp burning low. You lie on your mat once more, the stone floor still warm beneath your body. Outside, crickets begin their quiet chorus. You close your eyes, and for a moment you feel the rhythm of the court still humming softly, like the slow breath of an empire in twilight.
And now, as our journey through the Khmer Empire comes to an end, but even empires fade, the jungle slowly took back the stones, the canals dried, the courts emptied, and time folded Angkor into quiet. And yet, it was never truly lost. The Khmer Empire lives on, not just in carvings or ruins, but in rice fields, in stories passed down, in prayers murmured in early light. Sometimes history is not in the facts we preserve, but in the silences we learn to listen for. Tonight, you rest in a world far removed from Angkor's cycle of heat and toil. You sleep beneath electric light, not torches, and yet something of their rhythm lingers. Perhaps you too live by a kind of ritual, a pattern of days and nights, a slow march forward. The difference is your world remembers you. But the next time you see the shadow of a carved tower, or hear rain filling a basin, or watch mist drift over a morning field, you might think, just for a moment, of them, of the laborers, of the queens, of the vanished, of the dancers in stone, and then, gently, you'll drift back into silence. Sleep now. Let the empire sleep with you. And may you rise with peace
when the sun comes again.